Today, I have the rare opportunity of not only showing you the Lexus RZ for the first time on this channel, but also driving it. And I'm driving it for the first time ever today, and I waited until this video to actually drive it so you can see like the most candid impression of it. So I'll go over driving experience, but also I want to dig into who this car is for, as well as how you can spec it out, because it's a little bit of a mystery online right now. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus related content, or find me on Instagram at @DustinMason and DM me with any questions or video ideas that you'd like to see. Okay, so getting right into the styling here, I don't know if I'm just used to EV styling now, or if like Lexus has subliminal been getting me used to it. But to here, there isn't anything bold and like surprising to me. I mean, we have a little bit of like that simulated spindle grille off to the sides. We have that flat front. I was impressed that Lexus did a light up emblem on the front, and it looks really cool at nighttime when you're driving. You can just see that Lexus light up emblem, which until now has always only been like something you could order on Amazon or Kijiji or something like that. And now it's actually coming from the factory that way. We actually have a pretty high ride height, which is impressive for an EV. I guess it is more of an SUV than anything else. We have some fins down at the bottom. And then our classic daytime running light here. The headlights aren't, I kind of thought online it was just gonna be like an RX headlight. It's a little bit different. There's a little bit of like a different angle here. The signal looks a little bit different. This one is a base model, so we have a single LED headlight instead of like the triple or anything like that from the higher package. Something I've been excited to check out, and actually before I pop the hood, or the frunk or whatever we're gonna call it, interesting that the fender kind of comes up into the hood a little bit more than a lot of Lexuses. That is surprising. But let's take a look. I'm just gonna open it up. Okay. So I didn't know what was under here, and I overheard someone today talking about it in the showroom, and I want to see for myself. Yes, it almost looks like there's an engine here. Also, by the way, there's only one other Lexus that has a hood prop rod like that. And let me know in the comments if you know which one it is. Usually it's like the struts. But looking under the hood, it almost looks like there is an internal combustion engine in here. Usually with EVs, you don't have all this gadgetry here. Usually manufacturers tuck them away and make it a big mystery for servicing and stuff like that. But here we have the converter. It looks like some of the electric motor and generator here, and also all the HVAC stuff, as well as brake fluids, coolant, stuff like that. And the 12-volt battery, which is kind of surprising, to be honest, why that's there. I guess maybe that runs some of the accessories. That would make sense. And then interesting, there's like this little hub for all the piping and stuff like that. You see a strut going straight across at a really low angle. And yeah, that's what's in the frunk. So there's no trunk space in the front. There is just maintenance stuff, just like a normal car. Let's talk about the side profile. And yes, this is a base model, so we have a smaller wheel setup. You can go up a few packages. There's 2 packages higher than this one, and you can get a nicer wheel. We have our charging port here at the front. Just like in most EVs, you can kind of place it in different areas. We have a little bit lower height than like something like the RX. This kind of, it's a little bit lower and a little bit wider than even the NX. So it's kind of, again, one of those in-between type crossovers. We do have the electric door handles, which are my favorite, and the doors are super solid, both in the front and the back. A lot of painted black instead of like that matte black that we see on other models. This one is like a piano black, and it has a little bit different of a design to it. It kind of shapes up and then goes in. And sharp lines, actually it's more rounded lines in the center and sharp lines on the outside. Painted mirror cap. This one doesn't even have a sunroof. That's how base model it is. And then a little bit different of a design, kind of shaping to the back. Almost looks like RX, but not quite. Okay, people can say what they want. I love the back end design of most of our Lexuses right now. This one has these little Batman wings, which I think is kind of cool. It's definitely for aerodynamics and not just to look like Batman. We have a really sharp taillight design, really small. It's kind of like the sleekest of the Infinity style taillights that we have. And it underlines LEXUS. We have a little bit of fins on the side, and again, more of that painted black. Yeah, it is definitely the piano black all through. You will notice it says Direct 4. And if you don't know what Direct 4 is, it is a really high-end, sophisticated all-wheel drive system, branded Direct 4, and I'll talk more about that later. But But in the meantime, let's pop the trunk, and it's manual because it's base model. Back here, we have a decent amount of space, and I think a lot of that is because of everything that's up front. And we have even more space underneath. So it's massive under that rear cargo area because we have stuff under the hood. We have our charger. This is what it comes with from the factory. The wall charger, I have heard it takes a long time. It could take about 12 hours to get to mostly a full charge by doing it that way. But most people are gonna do the, oh, that's interesting. To pull it down, it actually tells you to put your hand the opposite way than you would going to. So normally I put my hand like this, and it's telling me to do it this way. That's interesting. And then it's actually easier. So most people would probably just charge it with a level 2 or level 3 charger. However, you do get the wall plug in case you want to plug it into your normal 120 volt outlet. It just takes a long time, that's all. Okay, so getting inside, keeping in mind it's a base model, we have some soft materials. It's nothing crazy though. And actually, even the first RZ that I saw at the auto show was fabric interior. So I'm impressed to see we have leather inside. I don't know why the concept one had fabric, maybe for other markets. It's pretty good. The inside kind of, oh, actually, that steering wheel, it looks cheaper than it feels. It actually feels pretty good. A lot of times, you know, on these lower end Lexus packages, it's more cresting towards that Toyota fit and finish. And that's what this one is, although it's really clean, like smooth materials, still some layers to it. The gear shift is different than anything I've seen before. This is new for Lexus. You sort of like push it down and turn. So down and turn, and it's almost like that's a button, but it's not. And then you just press park. So we have that. We have the Lexus infotainment, which even on this model is a big screen. And that's nice to see. It looks like the gauge cluster, it's different from any other Lexus right now. Wow, that's weird. I've never seen this layout. So we have just your speedo in the center, and it doesn't seem like I have a way to change it, which is interesting. That could be because this model. I don't love that, but that's okay. I can deal with it. If we were to go to higher models, so there is 3 packages total. So we have the Signature, we have the Luxury, and then we have the Executive. So this is the Signature. And by the way, with any Lexus, you get things like the highest end Lexus safety system, which is this one, 3.0 standard, blind spot standard, the electronic door latches, standard, heated steering wheel, heated seats, leather, headlight washers, big display, and pretty much the rest are all kind of what we would expect. Oh, that's a level 1 charging cable. It comes with that. And then 3 drive modes. Luxury is gonna be the next step up. That would give us a panel roof, a power back tailgate, memory seats, ventilated seats, parking brake support with braking, panel view monitor. So Luxury gives you bird's eye view, which is great. Single shadow ambient lighting, that's nice. Traffic jam assist, lane change assist, front traffic alert. I love those features. Decorated instrument panel. I knew it. So that changes, which is rare for Lexus, but that's a base model instrument panel. That's interesting. Door courtesy lamps, Drive Connect. So you have to get the Drive Connect, and then we also have the digital rear view. Then you can go to the fully loaded Executive, which would give you heated rear seats, heads-up display, Mark Levinson sound system, push to park, adaptive high beam system. So that's gonna be definitely the triple beam. Panel glass roof with dimming feature. That's super cool. Toyota came out with that first, where you have the whole glass roof and you can press a button and it goes like tint or frost. Ultra suede, so that could be the one that I sat in at the auto show, where it's like a fabric suede. High grade meter cluster, again, so there's 3 different clusters in 3 different packages. That's interesting, I wanna see that. Acoustic front and rear side glass, love that, the old GS used to do that. And then multicolor shadow illumination and the 20-in split 10-spoke wheel. So really, really cool wheel. And that is the grade structure of the RZ. But enough talking about it, let's take it for a drive. Okay, so before I start it, one thing that I noticed that I love right off the hop, it's a different noise for the unlock and lock. Now I know this car is made in collaboration with Subaru and Toyota as well. So I don't know if maybe that's the Subaru chime. It's definitely not the Lexus chime. I actually like it better. So let's fire it up. And again, it's EV, so there's no like big vibrations or anything. One thing I forgot to mention is underneath this center console is like a little shelf. There's like more storage there. You wouldn't be able to put a lot in there because I'd probably forget it. Like, I can't tell you how many times I forgot my phone in the car because there was like a compartment and I'm like up in a boardroom ready to start a meeting and I'm like, don't have my phone. And that's crazy. Okay, so first impressions, let's put it in drive with the little new shifter, which I do really like. And we'll just hop. We're gonna do a little bit of highway. We're gonna do a little bit of city. I will say, and I'm a Lexus enthusiast. Everybody knows me for that. I don't like this gauge cluster. Base model gauge cluster, they definitely made it a base model. It's almost like they did it on purpose. It seems a little blurry. That's my gripe. I thought I was maybe going a little bit crazy. Maybe there's a way to focus it a little bit better, but so far I don't love it. And that's okay. I don't have to love everything, even though I usually do. I'm the optimist type. I don't love that gauge cluster, and that's okay. It's so smooth already. It's so smooth. So one of the things I heard about the RZ, and I've said it in other videos, is because it's so smooth and there's no vibration from things like the gas engine, things like audio sound better. And even though we can't play the audio right now because of copyright and stuff like that on this video, the cabin itself feels better. This is one of the smoothest cars I've ever driven in my life. All right, I'm gonna punch it and we'll see if it's got the pep like a normal EV. Oh, it's got a cool little noise. Yeah, that's really nice. Not much wind noise, because like that's one of the things with EVs is usually there's a lot of wind noise because you don't hear anything else. It's good, and it's gotta be one of the smoothest cars. I hope the package with the bigger wheels and the panel sunroof still has this quiet, soft ride, because this one's good. Let's check out a drive mode. Let's put it in sport. So we have sport, normal, eco on this package anyway. Gonna do some regenerative braking. There's a Kona in front of me turning, and I'm gonna punch it again. Yeah, it's really smooth. Another thing, and we're gonna try that out, is this is one of the first cars in the world, it's actually like the second car in the world, they say, that has steer-by-wire. So what steer-by-wire is similar to the concept of drive-by-wire, where it used to be like your engine and transmission was was like actuated by a cable on the gas pedal, and then it switched to digital. Steering wheel, even though with assist and stuff like that, have traditionally always been mechanically connected to the drive wheels, to the steer wheels. And now it's electronically connected. So there's motors and actuators on the wheels, and that allows for like a quicker lock to lock. So like you don't have to turn the steering wheel as much as you would a mechanical car to have to go as far. Okay, we're in sport mode and we're gonna launch it. In 3, 2, 1, go. It's good. It's not crazy. It's not crazy, but it's good. So what I'm noticing, and I heard this when our videographer drove it today as well, most EVs are like kind of weird to drive. Like they're really aggressive when you brake them or when you press the brake, not when you brake them, that probably too though. When you press the brake and then when you press the gas, they're like a big difference from a gas car. In fact, with most EVs, when you let off the gas, it like really brakes. This one still does a little bit for the regen, but this one, it's kind of just like driving a car, like a smooth, quiet car that has 0 emissions. That's what this is like. Now there is some things we got to talk about with the RZ. The range is about 350. That's the advertised range. And most people will say, well, I got to commute from Niagara to Toronto every day. How could this work for me? The short answer is it won't. This isn't a car that you can use as a commuter for like long distances like that every day. This is supposed to be like a secondary car where either you plan your commute or you use it as like you're in the city car, or like, you know, you have maybe another vehicle for the long road trips, and then this one is, you know, for just tooting around town. And for that, it does a really good job in my opinion. Because as I said, it's one of the smoothest cars I've ever driven. And I work for Lexus, and we're known for smooth cars. And this is even surprising me. I'm turning off the sport mode. We don't need the sport mode anymore. We're gonna put in eco mode. That's what we're gonna try. Oh, you can silent notifications in here too. Oh, cool. And there's a range mode. Let's try the range mode. Okay, so let's talk about Lexus safety systems. So Lexus safety systems are standard on all new Lexuses, and this one has the latest iteration of that. So what we're gonna do is press the radar cruise, and I'm gonna turn on, probably we have proactive driving assist, I would assume. So we have sign assist, road sign assist. We have proactive driving assist, which is my favorite. That's like that bubble around us. We have safe exit assist, which is great. So if you're about to open your door and there's like a cyclist coming, it'll override you. It'll beep and then like make sure you don't stop. We also have rear cross traffic alert, blind spot monitoring, and lane departure system. So all that comes standard, even in the space model, which is pretty good. And again, it just goes up from here. So it depends what you're looking for in terms of package. Like the bones of this is gonna be the same whether you're in this base model or in the fully loaded executive. However, all the features are just gonna be added. So like I'm thinking if this is my second car, I might not even go for the fully loaded. Although the gauge cluster I'd probably have to get used to. But maybe I just go with the base model and this is just like the commuting around town car. Or if I had a family, this could be like the taking the kids to school car, who knows? Because overall it is super, super smooth. And I was expecting more road noise, I was expecting more wind noise because this one doesn't have the double paned glass, but all of that is good. It's all pretty quiet. The fit and finish is what it is. It's supposed to be an eco car, right? What matters is it's kind of cool to drive. And I don't think I would get sick of this. And the steer-by-wire is cool. Like you don't really, like that's probably part of the smoothness of this thing. Because even when you're connected, the steering wheel is connected to the wheels, you would normally feel little vibrations through the steering wheel, like coming from the road. And I'm purposely trying to hit bumps and like, you know, like those little snake lines and stuff like that in the road. You don't feel any of them. You don't feel any of them in the steering wheel. And I think this is probably what Lexus learned while doing this, while putting the steer-by-wire in. The only thing I felt was like when I crossed the line, it brings me back to this one. Let's check our range. So there's a trip average kilowatts an hour through 100,000 K or 100K. I don't know enough about that to know what's good and what's bad. It should show me range somewhere on here. See, that's why it's like they just slapped this gauge cluster in and it's not the most intuitive, I would say. This also is kind of like not a pre-production one, but it's like a test unit. So like the whole point of this car, and the only reason we have this car right now, is Lexus wanted to show people that they can live with an EV every day. Because to a lot of us, it's like a foreign concept. We didn't know if I can make this work every day. So Lexus, in their ultimate wisdom, said, let's send a couple units to each dealership. And the point of these cars is to have every staff member drive them for a week straight. So every salesperson, every mechanic, every service advisor, maybe even the receptionist, are gonna drive this car for a week at a time. And I've made the rule that you're not allowed, if you're a salesperson, you're not allowed to charge it at work. You have to charge it at home or plan your trip accordingly. It's supposed to like be able to educate us a little bit, like how to make it work in your everyday life. And if it does, and if it doesn't, how to recognize that with our guests, or how to teach them things about like objections, or not objections, but obstacles that they're gonna come up with or come across, and be able to speak to it positively instead of like having our guests surprised that, you know, if they're traveling in certain areas, they might have to download a different app to charge the car at different charging stations. That was one that one of our sales guys, Bilal, found out pretty quick, was he didn't realize which apps he needed to have to use certain charging stations in certain cities and certain areas and stuff like that. But now that he learned it from driving this car, he can help his guests with that planning ahead of time and be able to speak intelligently about it instead of just hypotheticals. Okay, we're gonna do a 60-degree turn here. And we'll try that steering wheel. Yeah, so you don't have to move the steering wheel much at all because of the steer-by-wire. Like you're not doing a full 2 laps of the rotation. It's just a little bit. And I could see that for like race cars and track versions of touring cars is, you know, having that quicker steering ratio just makes it, just could add a couple milliseconds anyway in savings. And that's what we're finding is if you plan your route, or if you look at this differently than you look at a gas car and change your mindset a little bit, things like range anxiety become not as scary. They become, you know, more like having empty fuel tank anxiety, where it's like you just kind of plan where you're going to charge, just like how you would plan for gas stations, especially if you're going to charge it at home every night with like a level 2 or level 3 charger, which I did hear level 2 charger is going to be the preferred method, because the level 3 is a little aggressive in terms of like charging that battery super quick and like getting it hot and stuff. The range on this is, with a full charge, is said to be 356 based on Lexus's website. Right now, I'm at 74 kilometers, which is pretty good because it was that when we left the dealership, and we've definitely driven more than that. Oh, there's active sound control. Oh, that's what, okay, so this is, the AC Simpsons is a sound generator that conveys the dynamic behavior. So we have it on medium, let's go high. And you could also do off, by the way. Let's just see. Now I've driven the Mercedes EV. I've driven like the Kia and Hyundai EV. I didn't hear it at all, to be honest. And if I go off, and by the way, it still has paddle shifts. Okay, so off is really off. There is no noise. I'm gonna leave it on high. There is a charging schedule. So a lot of these questions come up. So how do you charge it? How does it know? There's an app for this. So like you can leave it plugged in at your house all the time and have it charging on like those times where it's cheaper to charge your car, to run your electric bill. So you can do things like that. And here's a good indication of the Direct 4. So what Direct 4 essentially is set out to do is, for the best all-wheel drive system, it doesn't have to be the best in terms of like traction in all conditions. It could be that, you know, when you're coasting, or like when we're just at a cruising speed, do you need to have full 50-50 power ratio when it comes to front to back for traction? No. You can just have power to the rear wheels or power to the front wheels, depending on the car. And that makes it, in my opinion, the best all-wheel drive system, because why be wasting energy and fuel on wheels that we don't need to put power to right now, right? But in a mechanical setup, it's really hard to do that efficiently. You need clutch packs, you would need disengagement mechanically, and those parts can wear. With electronic motors, you just simply don't activate those motors. So you can see from a stop, we had full 50-50 front to back power on all four wheels without needing big fancy differentials or anything like that. It was great. And then once we got up to city speed, or not, probably even a little bit before that, it just did the rear wheels in this car. Just a little bit of power to the rear wheels to keep us going. If the car sensed, I love that steering wheel. If the car sensed, you know, slippage or snow, then it would, you know, again, balance those out. And that's what Direct 4 is, you know, a branded all-wheel drive system that is supposed to have, you know, power where we need it, not just traction to the wheels all the time, but also just, you know, a good balance of it to save energy. Okay, so what do I think and who is this car for? Well, first of all of my friends will know I'm like a V8 twin turbo power guy. And even I see there's value in this car, even though it's an EV and I'm usually not like an EV car. The way that it's smooth, the way that music sounds better out of the speakers because you don't have vibrations from engines and transmissions. The way it's practical, being able to plug it into your house every day and never go to a gas station. All of these things have a buyer for it. And also, on the inside, it's still that Lexus quality that we all know. It still has luxuries, it still has features, it still has a super, super smooth ride. Now, who is it for? I would say that person that already has a main vehicle to drive. Someone who has their car for road trips or their truck for road trips, but maybe their second vehicle just needs to be driven locally to and from work, to and from school, stuff like that. And this could be the most economical way to do so. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. I will be doing more EV videos in the future, especially with the RZ. I'm even planning on doing a full week with it so that you can actually see how it fits into my everyday life. So again, let me know in the comments below what you think. Like and subscribe for more Lexus related content, and find me on Instagram for more.